All right, so we're diving into this whole finding your purpose thing. You've chosen to explore this guide, Finding Your Purpose.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of unpack some of its key insights and see what clicks with you.
Okay.
I have to admit, even just reading the title, Finding Your Purpose, I don't know, it feels a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, is that weird?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's a common thread for a lot of us, this desire for a life of meaning and direction,
Totally.
And I think what's fascinating about how the text approaches it is it really emphasizes that purpose doesn't have to be this
right.
one grand calling.
This big thing.
Yeah, it's more about understanding your personal values and letting them guide your everyday decisions.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because I was reading through the text, and one of the things that really jumped out at me was this statistic.
Okay.
And I'm just going to read it because it really was kind of like, whoa.
Okay.
People with a strong sense of purpose were 15% more likely to report feeling very happy with their lives. 15%, that's huge.
It is significant.
Right. Like, does that surprise you at all?
Well, it's interesting when you consider the link that the text draws between purpose and overall well-being.
Okay.
It's not just this fluffy feeling.
Yeah.
It's actually backed by research that having that sense of purpose can kind of act as a buffer against stress, boost your resilience, all of that.
Okay, so let's say we buy into this whole having a purpose is good. How do we actually go about finding it? Because I feel like you could read a sentence like that and be like, okay, great. Now what?
Right, exactly. And the guide offers this really, I think, practical, step-by-step approach.
Okay.
And it starts with reflection.
Okay.
And I love that it starts there because it's you don't have to have it all figured out.
Right.
It's about tapping into your own experiences. And it encourages you to think back on times you felt truly energized, truly engaged in what you were doing. And this could be something that seems really insignificant.
Right.
But those moments, I think, hold valuable clues.
Totally.
Have you ever had that experience where you're so absorbed in an activity that you totally lose track of time?
Oh, yeah.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
Yeah.
You look up and you're where did the last 3 hours go?
All the time.
The text calls those flow experiences.
Yeah.
And it's those are not just enjoyable. They're actually giving you information about what naturally draws you in.
Oh, absolutely. For me, I think about getting lost in a research rabbit hole.
Okay.
It's I blink and hours have gone by.
Yeah.
And it's not even always some grand passion project.
Right.
Sometimes it is literally as simple as being in the kitchen cooking a meal and being
yes,
I am so in the zone.
Exactly. And the guide even suggests really paying attention to those activities and asking yourself, what is it about this experience that makes it so compelling? What skills am I using? What needs are being met?
It's those experiences are these little breadcrumbs leading us back to our core selves.
Precisely. And along with reflecting on those moments of flow, the text also highlights the importance of identifying your strengths.
Okay.
So thinking about those things that come naturally to you. The things that others might struggle with.
Yeah.
These are valuable assets in this whole purpose-finding process.
See, I think that's something that's so easy to gloss over.
Totally.
Because it's oh, well, that's easy for me.
Exactly.
So it can't possibly be a strength.
Right.
Because it just feels like part of who I am.
It comes naturally.
Yeah.
And the guide really encourages us to challenge that thinking.
Okay.
What comes naturally to you that might be a struggle for others? Maybe you have this knack for explaining complex ideas in a way that's easy to understand.
Right.
Or maybe you're a natural problem solver.
Right.
Those are strengths.
Yeah. Totally. It's funny how we often think about our strengths as these big, flashy things. But sometimes I feel it's actually those quieter, more understated qualities that are actually our superpowers.
Absolutely.
And there was actually this exercise in the text where it was think about times when people have complimented you on something you did well.
Oh, interesting.
Have you ever done an exercise like that before?
It's amazing what surfaces when we really take the time to examine those moments.
Totally.
Because we often kind of dismiss praise or compliments
Yeah.
but they can actually hold such valuable clues about our natural talents and abilities.
Totally. Totally. Okay, so we've got these flow experiences, these
Right.
strengths,
Yeah.
and then this other whole layer of values, which the text says that values are the guiding principles that shape your choices and influence how you live your life. It's like they're the compass,
Yeah.
and our purpose is like the direction
Yeah.
that we choose to go in.
I love that analogy.
Right.
Yeah, because just like any compass,
Yeah.
our values can help us navigate like difficult terrain and stay on course, even when we feel
Totally.
uncertain or lost.
But how do we even begin to
Right.
identify those core values? Because I feel like a lot of the time I'm just like, I don't know, running around on autopilot, not really thinking about what like
Sure.
truly matters to me on that like deeper level.
You're not alone in feeling that way.
Okay.
And the guide actually addresses that very challenge. And it provides a list of common values, things like honesty, creativity, kindness, adventure knowledge. And it encourages you to kind of look at that list and go, okay, which of these resonate most strongly with me?
Okay.
And it even suggests this really interesting exercise.
Okay.
Have you ever considered reflecting on like your heroes
Okay.
or the people you admire most?
Like, what is it about them that I'm like,
Exactly.
so-
Are they known for their courage,
Okay.
their compassion, their creativity?
Yeah.
Often the qualities that we admire in others reflect the values we hold dear ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we've done all this introspection.
Right.
We've pinpointed those moments of flow,
Yeah.
identified our strengths, defined our core values.
Yep.
How do we like weave it all together into like an actual purpose? Because
Wow.
I'm starting to see how these pieces fit.
Yeah.
But that last like step still feels very mysterious.
Well, it is a process.
Yeah.
And the text really emphasizes there's no one right answer.
Okay.
Like your purpose is uniquely yours
Okay.
to uncover.
Yeah.
But I think the key here is that once you have a clearer sense of your values and what makes you come alive,
Yeah.
the guide suggests starting small.
Okay.
It's not about making this radical life change overnight.
Okay.
It's about taking small steps in the direction
Yeah.
that feel aligned,
So instead of being like, I need to quit my job and travel the world,
which can feel overwhelming.
it might be exciting, but also very overwhelming. It's like,
Yeah.
how can I take my values
Exactly.
and weave them into my current life in a way that feels...
It's about bridging that gap between where we are now and where we want to be.
Yes.
One small intentional step
Yeah.
at a time.
And those small steps can add up to big change.
Precisely.
You know, all this talk about values and authenticity makes me think about
Yeah.
the people that we surround ourselves with.
Oh, absolutely.
And the text touches on this too, this
Yeah.
idea that like
It's huge.
the people in our lives can either like support or hinder
Yes,
our purpose journey.
for sure.
How do we navigate those relationships, especially if we're surrounded by people who maybe aren't quite on the same wavelength as us?
That's such a crucial aspect of finding your purpose.
Yeah.
Is creating an environment that supports your growth.
Yeah.
And the guide emphasizes the importance of surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, who believe in you,
Yeah.
who encourage you to pursue your passions.
Okay.
These are the people who will celebrate your wins with you.
Totally.
Offer a shoulder to cry on when you stumble because
Yeah, it's not always
Like
like
some-
sunshine and roses, this whole finding your purpose.
it's a journey,
Yeah.
not a destination.
Yeah.
And there will be bumps along the road.
Yeah.
And having that supportive network can make all the difference.
But what about those people in our lives
Yeah.
who maybe aren't so supportive? Maybe they don't quite understand like this desire to like
Yeah.
find our purpose, or they're threatened by our growth or whatever it might be.
Sure.
How do we deal with those more challenging relationships?
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And the guide acknowledges that like not everyone in our lives
Yeah.
is going to understand or support
Right.
our journey.
Okay.
And sometimes we need to set boundaries
Okay.
to protect our energy and focus on cultivating relationships
Yeah.
with those who uplift and inspire us.
It's like you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
So choosing our circle wisely can make such a difference
It makes a huge difference.
in how supported we feel as we're like
Totally.
on this journey.
For sure. And sometimes that might involve like seeking guidance from a mentor or a therapist, or even joining like a community of like-minded individuals.
I love that the guide doesn't just leave us hanging with this like, okay, find your purpose. Go.
Right.
It gives us these like actual tools.
That gives you strategies that you can actually implement.
That piece about like regularly reflecting on those moments of fulfillment. I'd even call them like purpose breadcrumbs.
I love that those moments are so valuable. Because it's like these reminders of what really matters to us amidst, the busyness of everyday life.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
Okay, so speaking of breadcrumbs,
Yeah.
we are getting close to the end of our deep dive here.
Okay.
But there's one last like little nugget from the text that I kind of wanted to touch on.
Okay.
And it was this idea that finding your purpose isn't just about like personal fulfillment.
Right.
It's also about making a positive impact on the world around you.
I think that's where the real magic happens.
Yeah.
Is when we align our actions with those values and we start to contribute to something larger.
Like our individual purpose becomes interconnected with this.
Exactly.
I think.
A larger collective purpose.
Yeah.
And it could be through our work. It could be through our relationships, our creative endeavors, our involvement in our communities. Like there's no one right way to make an impact.
And it doesn't have to be this like...
Exactly. It's not about like, saving the world single-handedly. It's like, what are those small acts of kindness, generosity, creativity that we can offer?
Yeah, this whole conversation has just been such a good reminder that it's a journey, not a destination.
It's not a destination.
Yeah.
There's no finish line. It's this continuous process
Yeah.
of growth and exploration and connection.
Love that as you continue on your own journey of self-discovery.
Yes.
Remember to be patient with yourself.
Absolutely.
Celebrate your progress and never stop asking those big, important questions.
So good.
Until next time, keep diving deep.